Today I'm going to give you an introduction to nymphing techniques on the river. These are very basic nymphing techniques. The type of techniques that will use a standard Western style fly rod and a fly line, and this is the simplest rig of all for nymphing. It's simply a length of tippet material and a single fly, which is about size 14 hare's ear. And by demonstrating the technique I'm going to show you, you'll be able to get some idea of what we're trying to achieve when we're nymph fishing and how we can improve presentation. Now, this simple rig is fine. I can fish it upstream, watch the line, follow the fly back. If the fish takes the fly, I can react, strike. But I'm not very good at seeing, I can't detect the takes very well at all with this technique. So if I fish it for a whole day, there's a fair chance I could catch one or two fish. And another way of fishing this is actually across stream. So by casting across the stream, let the fly sink, keep, and this is often known as down and across. Keep tension on the line, the fly lifts, and as the fly lifts, this is a fish, hopefully it sinks the fly and take the fly as it lifts in front of it. It's winter at the moment, so the fish aren't really very active, but this is a very popular technique, fishing down and across with a weighted nymph. It's a very popular technique of catching trout in spring. It's a very easy technique, but it's not necessarily one of the best ways of fishing nymphs. One of the reasons is, well, if to really be successful nymph fishing, we want to really be fishing upstream. The old spider fishers, Stewart, they knew the benefit of fishing upstream. You get much better stealth, much better presentation. So we want to fish upstream. However, if I fish upstream with this very simple rig, I have very little way of seeing when a fish has taken the fly. There's a lot of slack in that system. So we need a way of improving take detection. So when a fish actually takes the fly, we know that the fish has the fly in its mouth. And one of the simplest ways of doing that is to use an indicator. This is a much maligned way of fishing, of course, in the UK especially with the advent of more modern nymphing techniques using a longer 10-foot rod, light 10-foot rod, Czech nymphing, French nymphing, these European style nymphing techniques. But the forerunner to that, and a method that's still widely used in Canada and the States, is to use an indicator. So this is the very simple single fly, single nymph. This is a 2mm tungsten bead, about 80 centimeters depth, and I'm using a twist-on indicator. It's a very simple beginner's way of fishing a nymph. And what I'm going to be doing is casting it upstream, mending the line, trying to get a drag-free drift with this indicator. Of course, if a fish takes the fly, the nymph, then the indicator will dart upstream or dart under the surface, and I lift the rod to set into a fish, hopefully. The setup I'm using is, this is my trusty Sage 389 light line, one of the best stream rods ever made in my opinion, perfect rod, and a 2-weight line, so it's a very nice light setup, and it's a very simple, elegant way of fishing, perfect for a beginner. So I just flick the fly, amend the line, keep the line upstream of the indicator. If it starts to go downstream, it will drag. Now really, when we're using indicators in this type of fishing, it's really an induced nymph type of technique, because the surface currents in rivers tend to be much higher than the bottom currents. And so what we're actually doing is induced taking the nymph over fish. The nymph's actually being pulled at a slightly faster pace, and fish find this attractive because they think it gives the impression of life in the fly. And the impression of life is, of course, Very important when we're fly fishing. Fish believe the fly is real, then we're going to catch a few. And this is the indicator method. And the Sage light line, my 389, trusty 389, handles these fish superbly.